Good morning. Welcome to Seybold Seminars 1999 for a very exciting week here in San Francisco. I'd like to extend a special greeting to those of you joining us from around the world via satellite feed and simultaneous webcast. My name is Gene Gable. I'm the general manager here at Seybold. And on behalf of the entire Seybold team, I'd like to thank you for coming, pledge our commitment to providing you with a very exciting, educational, and entertaining week. There's many reasons to come to Seybold. One of the primary ones is to find new and innovative ways of combining words and graphics into important, entertaining, and beautiful documents. It doesn't matter if the final results are a printed page, a web page, an e-book, or the screen of a Palm Pilot. Increasingly, it's all of them at once. But the reason we're here this morning, and a very exciting reason, is to hear from one of the companies that embodies the Seybold spirit of combining innovation, creativity, and technical excellence. I'm sure you won't have any problem in joining me in a very warm welcome for our special guest this morning, Mr. Steve Jobs. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you.
We have some really fun stuff to share with you today, and so let me go ahead and get started. First, I'd like to give you just a brief update on Apple, the corporation, just a few slides, and then we'll get into the fun stuff in a row. We recently announced our profits for our last fiscal quarter, ending in June, and it was our 7th profitable quarter in a row, so Apple's doing pretty well there. In addition to that, Apple now has over $3 billion in cash with very little debt. So the company's very healthy. Now, one of the things that we think is really important is to bring operational excellence back to Apple, because in our industry, only the efficient survive. And one of the best ways to measure that is how many days of inventory you have leaving each quarter. And as you can see, we've been working that tighter and tighter and tighter every quarter. And last quarter, we ended with less than 1 day of inventory, about 15 hours to be precise. And that's pretty remarkable, especially when you take a look at that relative to our competition. Compaq ended with 28 days. Gateway and Dell, the two direct players, with 9 and 6. As a matter of fact, we've beat Dell now for the last 4 or 5 quarters. And Apple ended with 15 hours. And of course, inventory is, something in our industry that gets stale pretty fast. And lastly, we added a new board member to our board of directors, Mickey Drexler, the CEO of Gap Inc., a brilliant executive and marketeer, has joined our board, and I think he's going to help us a lot going forward. So those are just a few things to give you an update on sort of the overall corporate stuff. Now let's delve into the really fun stuff. First thing I'd like to do is give you a little overview of where we are with QuickTime. I know a lot of you are very familiar with this. QuickTime is an incredibly important strategic technology and set of initiatives for Apple. We're really serious about digital media. Apple invented this stuff a long time ago, and we're really seeing some incredible success with the new versions of QuickTime. Now, we thought we were finished with it, but it keeps going. The largest internet event in history has been the downloading of the Star Wars 1 episode trailer. And as of last weekend, there have been over 25 million downloads of this trailer. Now, we've offered this in several sizes. Most everybody goes for the big one because they want the quality. And that means that we have downloaded over 450 terabytes of data from our websites to viewers around the world on this. The largest internet event in history. We also just recently introduced QuickTime 4. Now, QuickTime 4 is the latest incarnation of QuickTime. It features a ton of new codecs and other great technology, but the biggest thing it features is, of course, live internet streaming, so that you can download stuff, but you can also stream stuff live. And it's been huge. Since we put this on the web, there have been 13 million downloads of QuickTime 4 to date, skyrocketing past all of our estimates, and we're incredibly pleased with this. We've also introduced QuickTime TV. Now, if you look at video on the internet, it's not so good in general. The quality is very poor, and the delivery consistency is very poor. We aim to change that with QuickTime TV. And so what is that all about? How do we go about that? Well, we should look at regular television and see what are the key components to making this work. The first is a great television receiver. Then you need television stations. Then you need a broadcast network, because television stations are usually local. They can't broadcast around the continent or around the world. And, of course, you need content. So let's look at where we stand on QuickTime TV in each of these four areas. Television receiver, well, that one's easy. We've got the best one in the world, QuickTime 4, the highest quality video on the internet. What do we do about a television station? To broadcast content right now, all of our competitors require that you go to them and pay them a lot of money for fancy server software to run on your server. We call it a server tax. Now, yeah, they give away a few baby copies, but if you want to do anything serious, you got to go write them a big check, and all the content providers out there know that. What is a television station for QuickTime TV? It is any server running the new open protocols for streaming on the internet, RTP and RTSP, the new industry standards, and anyone who implements those and runs a server using them can be a television station on QuickTime TV. We are not interested in making any money taxing server software. So anyone can do this. And as a matter of fact, we've written one that conforms to the standard called the QuickTime Streaming Server. We give it away free with Mac OS X, and we also give the source code away, and it's now running on Linux, and it's running on NT, and there's more to follow very shortly. So in this Darwin open source streaming server program that we have to give away the source code, there have been over 37,000 downloads of this Darwin open source streaming server. So there's a tremendous amount of activity because people are tired of paying server taxes to broadcast on the internet. So that's a television station. What about the broadcast network? Well, that's obviously the internet. But it's not so obvious, actually, because it turns out if you're in New York and the server's here, there's a lot of traffic between New York and here on the internet. And the internet does not guarantee latency, does not guarantee delivery in any period of time. And so it's very likely that your video is going to be of very poor quality. Now, what can we do about that? Well, to get around that problem, we have partnered with a company called Akamai. We've made a substantial investment in them as well. And what Akamai does is they put servers all around the internet, all around the world. And they have almost 1,000 of them now around the world. And these servers actually intercept you when you're looking for something, direct you to the server nearest you, and broadcast the content from that server. Now, they weren't doing streaming until we came along and started working with them, and together we're bringing QuickTime streaming services up on every single one of their servers. So that when you go to look at something in New York, you're going to be vectored to a server dynamically. You know nothing about this, that's very close to you, and you're going to get dynamite content all around the world over almost 1,000 servers today. And what about content? We've got some dynamite content in QuickTime TV. We've got some tremendous players and a few new ones almost weekly. We've got BBC World News, Bloomberg Television, Fox News. These are all broadcasting 24/7, by the way. Fox Sports, HBO, NPR, the Weather Channel, WGBH with some great educational content, ABC News, one of the most respected news sources in the world, ESPN for sports, Rolling Stone has got great music videos on, VH1, Disney, tremendous content from Disney, and then two new ones today, Rhino Records and Warner Brother Records, broadcasting on QuickTime TV. Some of these folks are only streaming in the QuickTime format. So what I would love to do now is show you some of this stuff, because we've really gotten it together with the television receiver, the station, the network, and the content, and we think QuickTime TV is going to be very, very important. So what I'd love to do now is invite Phil Schiller, our Vice President of Worldwide Product Marketing out here.